Hi, welcome to Bobbins and Bows of Bear YouTube tutorial for a simple scarf version 2. So this is a little bit more complicated slightly than the garter stitch scarf. This one has a border, still garter stitch border, but along the edge and up the side. And this is 2 balls for this scarf. You can use 3 balls if you wish. So I'll show you what you need. So I'm doing the 2 ball version in this video. So you need 2 balls of Amazon Super Chunky and in silver, and that will give you approximately 48-inch scarf. If you want to go for 3 balls, then that will give you about 68 inches, and you'll need 10mm needles, a pair of scissors, a tape measure, and a yarn needle. I use the looped yarn needle, which you'll see at the end when I do the sewing up. So that's everything we need, so let's get started. Okay, let's open the yarn. So make an opening loop, and we're going to cast on 25 stitches. I used 2 needle cast on, which is the same as my Learn to Knit video. So you just knit and place it back on, and knit your stitch, place it back on. So we're going to cast on 25 stitches. This should give you about 25 centimetres wide. So there we go, we have 25 stitches on there, and then we just knit. So you just commence with a knit, and then we knit for 7 rows, and this will be the border edge of your scarf. Okay, so now we've got our 7 rows of garter stitch. I'm going to go on to the pattern now, the main piece. So we knit 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we purl until there's 3 stitches left, to the last 3 stitches. So if you want to make this scarf wider or not as wide, you can change it how you want to, but you still can do the first 3 on the wrong side row. The first 3 stitches are a knit, and then you purl to the last 3 stitches. Oops. So there's 3 left there. Yarn back to the back for your knit stitches. There we are. So that's that's the wrong side row of your scarf. So this is the front, so you can just see you're starting to get the stocking stitch bit in the middle and the garter stitch on the end. So on the right side row, you just knit across the whole row. You don't have to worry about your border. And you continue with these 2 rows. So on the right side row is knit across the whole thing. On the wrong side row, it's knit 3, purl to the last 3 stitches, and then knit the last 3 stitches. And you keep going until you run out of your wool, and then you can add another ball of wool. There we go, that's the end. There we are, so you can see that pattern there, further away. Okay, so you keep going, and then I'll show you how to join the ball. Okay, so we've knit to the end of the first ball of wool. This is how much you get. That's how much you get. Okay, so I've got a little bit of wool left here, and you always think, have I got enough for another row? So I'll show you a little tip of how to check. This really only works with stocking stitch. Stocking stitch and a bit of garter stitch, it should still work. So you get your yarn and you measure along your needle the work you've done. So about 3 times and a bit spare, you'll have enough for another row. I wouldn't do that with a patterned piece, because you'll need a bit more than that. Okay, so to join our new ball of wool, so I just need my needle, and you open your new ball of wool, which I've already done. And this is my new one. So put the old one out of the way, and this is my new one. So put your needle in, and then you make a loop with this one. Pop it over the needle to use as you're working yarn. So you knit a stitch. It's going to be loose, but don't panic. And you put it in the second stitch. Make sure you've got the ball end of your new yarn. Do another stitch, and then you very carefully put it down back to front, and you tie off your new and your old yarn. If you're using 100% wool, some people don't tie them off, they just weave the ends in because wool felts as you use it, so it's less likely to come undone. With something like this, which is an acrylic and wool mix, I would tie them off and just leave the ends dangling, and we'll sew them in later on, which I'll show you at the end. And so you just continue with your new wool with your pattern. So we're on a knit row here, and then you just keep going, and you can either do the 2 balls, or if you want extra long, you can use 3 balls. And then you knit until you've got a handful of wool left. If you want a measurement, I will put them in the description. So the measurement for the 2 balls and the measurement for the 3 balls of how far you should go. These will be approximate because everybody knits differently. Your tension will be different. So if you're unsure, just leave a little bit extra. If you get to the measurement I've given you and you don't think you've got enough wool, then take it back a little bit, or add another ball of wool. Okay, so keep going until you get to the measurements that I've said. So we've continued knitting for 2 or 3 balls, whichever one you've chosen, and we end on a right side row. So we've got a wrong side to start the border. So there's your beginning border, and now we're going to start the end border. So you just knit across the row. It's the same as it was at the beginning. We're using garter stitch, which is just knit each row. And you knit the same as you did before. So, and then we'll get to the casting off. As you can see, we're just starting the border there. So there we have 6 rows of garter stitch, and then it's the wrong side for the casting off. So we just cast off as you would normally. Knit 1, knit 2. If you've completely forgotten, it's on the Learn to Knit video. You just knit 2 and take one over the other and continue to the end. So all we've got to do now is to weave in our ends, which I'll show you. So we've cast off there, and this is the loop and the tail that's left. So pop your tail through the loop, but don't just pull. If you want to stop it from pulling too much, you kind of ease the knot in like that. It starts to end up with a really big loop. Okay, so we're going to weave in our ends. I've got a looped tapestry needle or yarn needle. They're a lot better for super chunky. You just pop it through the loop. These are a Knit Pro needle. They come in a pack of 3. They're really handy. And then I wouldn't sew it down. I wouldn't weave it in down the edge. It'll probably come loose. This is a nice tight cast off. So I would weave it through here really. You just weave it along for a few stitches. You need to do it for a few, because if it comes undone you need to have enough to sew it back together. But hopefully it won't. That will probably be enough. I'll go back on myself a little bit there. And you just nip it off. And that's it. And then there's these side ones as well here. Now these do have to be woven in a little bit differently. I always seem to leave long ends. It's just a habit, because I like to sew it with my ends, so even though we're not actually sewing this up as a garment, I just left long ends anyway. So on this one, you can sew it up the side, but I always find they come undone, so I weave them across. So I just follow it. Don't do it double though, you'll see it a mile off. That should just about do. And I go back on myself one more. you just keep going like that with all of your ends. Now because it's so open, I would normally have gone to the next one and gone down there, but I don't think it's going to like it if I do that. I'll give it a go. A lot of the times you've got to feel your way along sewing up. You follow the rules, but if it doesn't quite work on that garment or that stitch or the type of wool, then just change it around a little bit. That's not too bad. There are lots of different ways of doing lots of different types of sewing up and finishing touches. You'll find the ones that you like. There you go. I mean, I would leave that for a little while. If it starts poking through anywhere, then I can sort it out. On the end one, a little bit easier obviously because it can go along your cast off edge. Just bring it through to the back and then just follow your stitches along. Weaving it through the tighter stitches always helps as well. Like that's quite a loose one, so bring it through. But that's a nice tight stitch. That'd be a good one to end on. I'll do another one. So if you go back across to the tight stitch, and finish on that one. So just leave it a little bit so you can go in, so that's gone in nicely. And that's it, and that's your scarf. I've only done 2 balls on mine because I don't like them too long. If you want to make it lay flat, then I just get a towel and lay it out as I want it and just spray it with a bit of water, leave it to dry, and it should stay put. Like when you wash them, I always lay them flat to dry and they'll stay that way. So there you go, that's your scarf. I hope you enjoyed that, and if there's anything you want to ask me about it, leave a comment in the underneath and I'll try and answer you. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then please like and subscribe. Thank you.